Hello and welcome to the 2018 APTA National Championships. We're live at the Glenview Club in Gulf, Illinois, just outside of Chicago. I'm John Scott, and it's time for our press conference. We're very excited to be joined by several folks from around the APTA, including Shannon, Vinson, Gerri Viant, Scott Bondurant, Alex Bancila, Hallie, Bodman, and Liz Hayward. Gerri, we're going to go straight to you. Everybody in the APTA knows all about the Hall of Fame player and now the soon-to-be Hall of Famer on the broadcast side.
Yeah.
Gerri Viant, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you. Yeah, we're very excited now to be live streaming all of our Grand Prix Tour events, and now the pinnacle, of course, is the Nationals, which we're all in Chicago for, which is going to be this weekend. Streaming 4 days. We're starting tonight with the men, tomorrow night with the men's President's Cup final, and then we go in Friday, Saturday, Sunday, streaming nonstop all the way through. Women's final, 7 o'clock on Saturday night, and men's final, 1 o'clock on Sunday.
When you look at this event and how big and how many clubs and venues, I think it's, what, close to 40 different locations at this tournament?
Yeah, the Chicago area is really, they just have a tremendous volunteer base. Probably Shannon will be able to answer how many clubs in the area and how many volunteers, and it's just a monster event to hold the Nationals in Chicago. Really does it very well.
One programming note for those of you watching, if you have questions and would like to ask them online, feel free to do so, and I'll ask the dais here your question. Gerri, when you look at the Nationals that you have won, which is what, 30, 40 of them? I've lost count, right? What is?
How old am I?
You started playing when you were 2, right?
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
But when you look at Nationals now versus at Nationals years back, what are some of the things that are different now?
Well, it's a great question. I think, number one, the players. I mean, they're all, in the top ranks, are all earning a living playing platform tennis. So the racket skills is way higher. Fitness, the game is faster, there's more spin on the ball, the equipment, everything is just, it's much more dynamic. But the number one thing's still there. The camaraderie in this sport is fantastic. It's a community of real players.
So right off the bat, someone watching on Facebook, Mac wants to know, how can a new player get involved in platform tennis?
Well, if you know somebody who's playing, grab them, get on the court. A lot of the area regions have public courts. So you can go onto platformtennis.org and have a look at the list of clubs in your area. You can also reach out to the APTA, and we'll set you up with pros that are in your area and get you started.
So you're talking about the pros and the fact that now you can make a living playing this great game. We have a couple pros here, Hallie, Bodman and Liz Hayward. I understand there's an interesting story this year as opposed to last year. Last year you were at Nationals, but you weren't really at Nationals. What happened there?
We were there. Yes. I actually got the flu on the way to Nationals last year. And I spent the entire weekend in my bedroom trying to recover.
So, watching on live streaming.
Yes, I was watching.
Of course, watching on live streaming.
Yeah, so we're happy to be able to play actually this year.
What adjustments have you guys made other than maybe extra vitamin C from last year to this year? How prepared do you guys feel going into this event?
Well, fortunately, we don't have to travel, so that's obviously to our advantage, and we don't have to get on a plane. I wish everybody coming from the East Coast the best, safe travels. I know there are big storms out that way, but obviously sleeping in your own bed is great. It's also nice not to have any time change. So we're feeling good. We're feeling, at the top of our game, and we've been getting a lot of good practice rounds in, and we're healthy, and we're raring to go.
A question sent in, how do you become a professional platform tennis player? Other than lots of hard work.
Let me just clarify that. We've got teaching professionals that are earning a living teaching.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a pro tour. They're not earning a living playing. So there's a big difference. Right,
but they're still earning a living in the game, right? And you guys are teaching professionals. From a person who's an amateur or a low-level player, and they want to get to that open level, that high level, what kind of advice would you give someone and to get to those top levels in the sport?
I just think it's practice, practice, practice. Repetition, play a lot, keep going. I think that's the number one thing. Get out there and play as much as you can.
And these tournaments, more than anything, they give you the opportunity to play a lot of matches in one day, a lot of feedback, a lot of different players that may be, you know, from not within your immediate league. So you get that exposure. Because quite frankly, I do think that players from Chicago may play a different style of game than they do on the East Coast. And maybe Gerri can speak to that because she always kind of makes light of the way Liz and I play. So the tournaments are a terrific way to go about that.
Piper is watching. She's a 10-year-old, and she says that she wants to get good like you guys. What would you say to an up-and-coming junior player to encourage them to just keep going?
Well, there are, you know, Chicagoland has some good opportunities locally for the kids. I fortunately have been a part of a high school program locally. It's in kind of an intramural club program that we have out of a local high school. And we have more interest than we've been actually able to sustain just because of court time and such. But, you know, there are tournaments, there are clinics, there are, you know, pro-ams and different exhibitions that the kids can come see and come be a part of. You know, so at the grassroots level, the APTA is doing a great job with that and local people as well.
Hi, it's Scott Bondurant, president of the APTA. I would just also note that we work as closely as we can with the PPTA, which is the Professional Platform Tennis Association, which is part of the USPTA. And there are now, you know, several hundred PPTA professionals around the country. So in any of the major metropolitan areas in the greater New York area, Boston, Philly, Cincy, Chicago, and many others. There's lots of pros, and their full-time job is to guide people into figuring out how to get into this game and get better.
All right, that's good information for everybody watching at home. Talking about tournaments, talking about the different series, the different events, we have Shannon Vinson here, the APTA Tour Director. If you've been anywhere around the Glenview Club, you've probably seen her. You've definitely heard her. Shannon Vinson is here. Shannon, thanks a lot for being here.
Thanks for having me.
An event like this, what's the scope? Give people at home an idea of how big this event is. How many, again, venues, how many volunteers, what goes into pulling off a tournament like this?
Well, it starts with our players, and at full draw, we have 512 players coming in from around the country along with our local players. We are using 27 sites that have 4 to 6 courts at each site, and we will run those courts the whole time. We have 227 volunteers who've been coming here all week picking up their supplies. We have wonderful sponsors who make all of this possible. A big shout out to Viking Athletics, who really makes my job a lot easier as the tour director and at the Grand Prix events and also at the national championships. They help us in a lot of ways. So we have Viking, Save a Tree, another one of our fabulous sponsors, and Uline. Those 3 companies really, in conjunction with the APTA, make my life a lot easier. But we have 75 cases of water. We have 85 cases of Gatorade. We have 200 things of pretzels. It just is endless. But it's a lot of fun, and I have a great team around me that really helps.
One of the questions, actually, 2 people have now asked it. How do they get, they're in the Chicagoland area, how do they get here? What do they need to do? Where are we located at? How could you directionally tell them?
Sure. We're playing at all the sites on the North Shore, but the main site here is at the Glenview Club where we are right now, which is located in Gulf, Illinois on Gulf Road. It is free admission. We will be having tomorrow, the Men's President's Cup will be featured here at Glenview. The Women's President's Cup will be at Sunset Ridge in Northfield, Illinois, also on Sunset Ridge Road. They will be there all day. Play tomorrow will be from 8 a.m. till about 5 p.m. And then starting Friday morning at 9 a.m., we start the women's main draw. Again, main sites here at Glenview, but all over. We'll run through 5 o'clock Friday, and then Saturday, start again at 8 a.m., run through about 10 p.m. Saturday night, and then Sunday we start again at 8:30.
So for those at home that don't know Shannon, she's what, a 5-time President Cup winner. I won't give all your accolades because we don't have time.
One time was with this girl.
You've also been on the tournament chair, I believe, for 10 years or so. The Grand
Here
Prix
in Chicago.
So you also work a lot with the Grand Prix Series. Tell us
Yes.
about that for just a little bit. What's the Grand Prix Series and what's your involvement there?
So I work with the local tournament director over the phone leading up to the event. We have 5 each year, 1 in each region. The APTA has divided our country into 7 regions. So we feature 1 a month in a different region. And that is, there are bigger points on the line. That's where all of our top players are. And it's a great weekend. And so I work with them, the local tournament director, to pull it together. And it's just to develop the continuity of the live streaming, the draw sheets, just, you know, nuts to bolts.
And speaking of live streaming, I want to go back over to Gerri real quick. Gerri, I have been involved in the live streaming personally for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. And when I look at where we're at now versus to where we were with that cherry picker thing way up in the air and a camera guy freezing. I was the camera guy, the very first one. And for 6 hours, I was right outside here, way up top, and it was a little brutal. But how excited are you to see the evolution and change that we've had in the live streaming piece?
Yeah, I'm thrilled at the progress that we've made when I think back at those times. But being able to showcase the sport, you know, was a challenge because it's outside and, you know, you've got a small court and getting it. But we've figured it out. We've got the live streaming crew working with us, and in each tournament we've made an improvement. Like we've got the instant replay now. We've got the player bios so that we can tell a story. So if someone's watching for the first time, they know who the player is, what their best shot is, and why they would care. So we're telling a story about the game and the growth and the players. And it's the graphics have gotten much better. I mean, we've really come a long way.
Well, and I have to say, as a testament to that, Gerri has really done a fantastic job whipping the ENET guys into shape. Her profession, seriously, you know, tongue in cheek, yes, but seriously, you can tell why you were so great on the court because your drive is not like most other people's drive. Your drive for excellence is really second to none, and it shows, and the ENET group is very thankful for that as well.
Well, thank you. I love it. I love the sport, and I have that little organizational chromosome that if I'm going to spend that much time doing it, and it was great to come in and not know anything about it, and then work with you guys and have a vision, and the APTA, you know, full support Shannon at every tournament. So everything, I feel like everything that we do is just getting better. So.
Well, and talking about everything that we do is getting better, Scott Bondurant, APTA president, the things that are really getting better, we were just talking about off the air, numbers, viewership. Talk to us a little bit about some of those improvements that you've seen.
Yeah, you know, we're really thrilled to be able to do a lot of things for our rank and file members, right? The club players, the league players, and you know the live streaming has been a fantastic plus. So we've had 30% sequential growth numbers this year on the live stream as we've incorporated both the Facebook Live and YouTube ability to broadcast over those forums. So we have more than 60,000 viewers, unique viewers in any given tournament. And I would add on top of that things like live scoring. So for those of you out there that want to check up on the tournament, go to platformtennis.org and look up the live scoring. We've had over 1 million page views this year, right, on live scoring. So it's a fantastic thing that we provide to the members. And I would just highlight some other things. Our Facebook, the APTA Facebook page is growing very rapidly. The YouTube, again, we've got a YouTube channel that lots of folks are gravitating towards. So we're very pleased to be able to develop these things to benefit the rank and file player.
I've been around again for 3 or 4 years, and I'm blown away at the trajectory that the sport is going, that the organization is going. Next year and in the years to come, do you guys have a plan, a goal, or there's some things that you can publicly say as far as, you know, some things to be looking for or watching out for?
Yeah, so a year ago we started the National League Championships and had a great inaugural tourney, and this year it's going to be bigger and better. It'll be the weekend after Easter, so that's, I think, April 7th, 8th, something around there. But again, that gives a chance for any league player around the country to win a national championship, no matter what level they are. So whatever flight you're playing, whatever level you're playing, you can come to Chicago and try and win a national championship. And we are going to live stream the National League Championships this year. So that's quite exciting. We continue to use our really the member dues and towards doing things like grants for public access facilities, grants and loans. We put out a lot of money there, and we're trying to grow the game on a grassroots basis, and it's fantastic to see the public facility growth around the country. And I'll throw one more thing out there. We're really trying our best to try and improve the actual court surface to make it a little easier on folks' bodies. And we've got an initiative with Georgia Tech where we're working hard to try and figure out ways to improve that. So we have so many dedicated volunteers, and again, we appreciate all the leagues all around the country that are members and allow us to grow the game.
And speaking of the people in the sport, Scott, a lot of people have heard about you. They've seen your name here or there. They've heard us talk about you on the air. One question I have always had is for guys and gals like you who are just doing what you're doing in the sport, why platform tennis? What is it for you that really gets you going with platform tennis? You've been involved in this sport for years, vice president for 6 or 7 years, and now in this role. What is it about the sport that draws you?
It's just fun, right? There's not much more to it. So, but if you've played competitive tennis in a high school or college level, the idea of picking up paddle after you've kind of finished your competitive string, if you will, in tennis, it's just a no-brainer. And then anybody who is participating in the club, what's been remarkable is since for the last 10 years with the growth, this is the original, by the way, what I call a Taj Mahal. But it basically, effectively, these clubs, country clubs, and any facility becomes a year-round facility when people come here, and it's all what Gerri said, is the camaraderie and friendship. So basically, it's obligatory after you've played paddle to come in and have a beer and hang out and get to know your opponents and others.
Yeah, the social side is really something.
Yeah, and I think also what is special about platform tennis, when you play in a tournament, you're guaranteed 3 rounds. So you don't lose and go home. There's a whole another tournament in there 3 times through, even if you lose in the first round. So that also plays into the social part of it. And people, they're coming to Chicago for the hang time. I mean, the paddle is going to be dead serious, but the parties are going to be really fun, and that's...
Well, and speaking of that, Scott and Gerri, parties, one of my favorite things all season long is the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. That's coming up. Today is, what day are we on? Wednesday. So that's the day after tomorrow. Friday night. We've gotten word that we're going to do that live. What do we expect to see in the ceremony?
Well, actually, there's a number of things. We're going to give out awards to both the Grand Prix championships for the men's and the women's. We've got the Blanchard Cup and the Childress Cup for the men and the women. We also, in a very, I think, wonderful honor, we are renaming the National Championship Cup for the women the Strauss Cup for Dion Strauss, who was an all-time great Hall of Fame player and person. So that'll be exciting because that gets kicked off and formally honored on before we kick off the main Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And Brian Uline, maybe maybe the best player ever to come out of Chicago, and a true, he changed our game, is going to be honored, and the whole event is really showcases what our sport's all about, and it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I've seen power out there, and then I've seen Brian power, and it's kind of a different thing. I've never seen anybody hit the ball that hard. Gerri, you're a Hall of Famer. What does this mean to the people that are being inducted?
It's a tremendous honor. I mean, if you look at the names that are on the Hall of Fame, it's a level of not just play, but people that give to the sport, and the whole camaraderie again comes through, and it's a special night and a big honor to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Well, speaking of big honors, we have Alex Bancila here. He's the GM and COO of Viking Athletics. Alex, I've seen you around the sport. Your products, your beanie that you guys make is one of my favorite of all time, just so you know. But you're also a player. As a player, how excited are you to be here at this event again?
Not very excited, because this is the second year in a row that I won't be able to play. So that everybody who's a player out there knows that's probably the worst feeling you can have. So
the only thing worse would be being in a hotel room sick with the flu. Exactly. And actually make
it which was me, I think, last year, because on my way to, literally, I was about to get on the plane to go to Philly. And as I was boarding, my partner texted me. I think I took a selfie of my face because I had to. He texted me, and he just told me that he rolled his ankle, and he's probably going to be out for the Nationals. So I personally hate it. I'm looking forward to seeing Brian getting inducted into the Hall of Fame on Friday. I'm looking forward to his speech, which he claims he's going to wing it. But I'm not looking forward to being courtside. I'll try to be around the courts as little as possible.
As a player, I know it's got to be tough then, but then on one of the other hats you wear, the GM and COO of Viking, hearing all of the things that they're saying, hearing the numbers, seeing I mean, you come to a national event, back then versus now, with all of these crazy things that are going on, all of the viewers, that's got to make you pretty happy.
Oh yes, it's. I started playing back in 2002, 2003 actually. My first nationals was in Pittsburgh. That's a shout out to Ann right there. The difference in the level for both women and men, and the live stream, which in my opinion, thanks to Gerri and her team, it's been the biggest improvement that I have seen in the sport. Probably even more so than how the game has changed from that time, because it makes it a little bit more inclusive to people who cannot physically be present around the courts at the clubs. And I think that the live streaming itself has been improving year on year, which again is a testament to that young lady right there.
It absolutely is. I talk to women in my life, my wife, and then secondly, Gerri. I talk to her more than anybody else. But you're on the list too. But truthfully, I don't play the sport competitively, but the sport needs to know how amazing and hardworking Gerri has been. And if you could be a second Hall of Famer, then you should be. But
it's a team. I have a lot of wonderful people around me.
I understand, and I'm one of them. But still, I'm just kidding. But you have done a fantastic job. And Scott, I know that you're happy with everything that you see, but there's something a little extra exciting that we get to talk about today. Is that right?
Absolutely. So we are thrilled to be able to formally sign a 5-year agreement with Viking Athletics. That will be, they will be supporting the APTA and all the things we do to grow the game in a very substantial way for 5 years, and we're really appreciative of Alex and everything Viking is doing for us and for the game.
Yeah, I think that's exciting, and you know, we want to end this press conference. One, we want to thank everybody. By the way, Gerri, there's somebody saying that the state of Kentucky loves you. Just, you know, in the chat box, you have to go back and look. I don't know about the other states, but Kentucky, according to this, they love you. Thank you guys so much for joining us. The last thing that we want to do before we go off is have the official signing of this great contract. So we're going to clear this table off real quick, shuffle around here a little bit, and I will hand the microphone over to Scott and Alex. So this is, again, the signing of an official partnership with Viking in a 5-year agreement.
No, this is fantastic. I don't think the signing will make a lot of noise, but I'm very happy to sign and follow. But it's you know, Viking has been a sponsor for the last 3 years and been a fantastic partner, and now we're adding another 5, which is just a fantastic thing for us and for the game.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to do it from here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We will be on the air tomorrow with our first match at 4 o'clock Central Time with the Men's President Cup Final, and then right back at it on Friday and Saturday. Go to Facebook, go to YouTube, go to the APTA network. You'll see us if it's daylight or nighttime, or the next 4 days, you're going to see us live. Thank you so much for joining us for the APTA network. I'm John Scott.